Hello and welcome to a special edition of Rams Revealed in partnership with Sleep Number. I'm JB Long, and today we're going to learn about how the Rams get that competitive advantage in the realms of sleep and recovery. We'll have two guests for you. We'll hear from Sleep Number's head of sleep and behavioral sciences, Dr. Mark Aoya. But first, we catch up with one of the Rams' defensive captains, safety Jordan Fuller. Jordan, we've gotten to know you over now 4 years as a member of the Los Angeles Rams, but for those who might be introduced to you here for the first time in this conversation, can you go back in time and give us a sense of how you came to be a great player at Ohio State and eventually a member of the Los Angeles Rams?
Yep. So I'm Jordan Fuller. I'm a kid from New Jersey. I ended up getting recruited and went to Ohio State, played safety there for 4 years, beat the team up north 4 times. I got to make sure I say that. I think 3 Big Ten championships over there. So we won a whole bunch of games, a bunch of bowl game wins too. So that was fun. Got drafted here in the 6th round. Was here my rookie year. Well, been here this whole time, but rookie year was able to start for like 12 games. My second year was blessed enough to be able to get voted captain. Then I hit a little adversity, got hurt at the end of my second year. And then all last year I was kind of had an injury bug again. But now I'm back healthy, playing well, trying to make a run with this team. So that's me.
Well, it's great to see you back to full strength and playing some of your best football as a professional. Given the injuries you've gone through in recent years, how rewarding is that for you?
It's super rewarding. I'm grateful every day. I just wake up super grateful and motivated to just keep getting better. And I'm just like, every time I'm able to step on the field, I don't take it for granted at all. So yeah, it feels good.
Here in 2023, you're a second-time captain. I know how much that honor means to you, but the challenge of being in a leadership role for this particular roster must be a lot different given the size of the rookie class, all these underclassmen for the Rams.
Yeah. No, I think it's fun, to be honest. We have a lot of great personalities in that group. And they help us a lot in the football field too. Just super talented like individuals, and really cool people too. I love who they brought in. So yeah, it's been fun, this whole experience.
At this stage of the season, are they even rookies anymore? It feels like they've really grown up in your defense.
No, for sure. And a lot of them were basically just kind of like thrown in the fire. Like, I mean, you're the guy, so like, let's go. And I think they've handled it really, really well. I mean, you saw Kobe Turner making a bunch of plays, but I can name so many. But yeah, they've been doing really well.
Also want to congratulate you on being nominated for the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award. It's given to the player who best displays on-field sportsmanship, including fair play, respect for the game and opponents, and integrity in competition. Even going back to your college days at Ohio State, those are attributes that I know that you're known for. How much pride do you take in a nomination like that?
It means a lot. I don't approach my work to get certain accolades and stuff like that, but kind of being rewarded for being a good person is a cool thing to get rewarded for. So I'm definitely thankful for the nomination and everything. Yeah, it's cool.
As you know, you're here in partnership with our friends at Sleep Number, and we do want to dig into how you work, how you sleep, how you recover. What did you learn about yourself through the injury recovery process in particular?
Oof. I knew this, but I guess I just learned it a little more, just how resilient I am. If I put my mind to something, I can really get it done. I just thank God every day. He's definitely had his hand on me, and through everything. When it was moments where I kind of just felt like myself, he definitely pushed me and given me little signs here and there just to keep going and stuff. But yeah, I would say what I learned about myself is just I'm resilient, and I could get over a lot of hurdles.
Being a starter on defense for the Los Angeles Rams leads to off-the-field opportunities, and I wonder what your experience was like working on Sleep Number's numbers game feature.
Yeah, that was awesome. Honestly, when I showed up, I was pretty wowed. I was like, "Is this all for me? Like, for real?" Like, but yeah, it was amazing. Just everybody at Sleep Number, just from top down, just was amazing to work with. Super cool, genuine. Aaron Rollo, the guy that produced the whole thing and put it together, is super cool dude and super talented. So I love being around people who are really, really talented, but not exactly like in my field, and just learning a bunch of different things about what they do, how they got into it and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll probably be talking to him in the future and stuff, just because it's really cool just being able to get around people that are experts in different things.
As you know, so much goes into game day and preparing you to play your best and to step onto that stage. But you're saying even more so you were impressed by stepping onto a different stage this offseason?
Yeah, I'll say so. Yeah, it was really, really cool. Expanded my horizons some.
Jordan, how did your Sleep Number bed help in your recovery from your most recent injury?
It helped a lot, especially just studying my Sleep Number scores, Sleep IQ score. Every night and tracking my heart rate variability and stuff like that, kind of fine-tuning the details of my sleep, whereas usually I would try to go to sleep around a certain time, try to have like a little routine in that way, but really delving into like those minor details and figuring out like, okay, if I ate maybe an hour before bed, how do I sleep compared to like if I give myself a little bit more time, this little stuff like that where I feel like it could really, really help with your recovery, and it has for me.
How about when you wake up that next day? In what ways does a good night's sleep prepare you for that next practice or that next week's opponent?
Oh, it's great. It's way easier to get out the bed that morning. It's way easier to have that motivation that you want to have. Sometimes this work can be a grind, and not every day you're not going to be excited to wake up and maybe go to meetings. Maybe you want to sleep a little more and stuff like that. But after a great night's sleep, I feel like just way more energized, way more motivated, and the day's a whole lot more pleasant when you're recovered. So,
Jordan, as you know, being a West Coast team, it's often perceived to be a disadvantage traveling to the Eastern time zone and playing in those early NFL windows. Teams historically from the West Coast have not done well, but the Los Angeles Rams have really thrived. How much do you think sleep science prepares you to be at your best when you are on the road?
Yeah, I think especially for West Coast teams trying to go play on the East Coast, and you're playing at basically 10 a.m. over here, waking up maybe around 6 a.m. None of us are like used to it. But yeah, being with the Rams, they definitely have helped with just educating us on how to really like find a routine on those road games, and whether it's getting to sleep at a certain time or making sure when you wake up you open your blinds, you take maybe like a sleep pack before the night before the game, little stuff like that. Just so many resources here. So yeah, they've been real helpful.
It sounds like what you're saying is now as a fourth-year professional, you've become much more attuned to your sleep and how important that is to going about your business.
100%.
And how much has Reggie Scott and then the staff here with the Rams helped you improve that knowledge?
Yeah, they've helped so much. They have these little like 3-minute like quick hitters sometimes before like a lift or maybe before a team meeting and stuff like that. And I listen to all the things that they say because, wherever you can get an edge, you want one. So I'm all ears when it comes to that.
Jordan, you've mentioned your Sleep Number smart bed. What are some of your favorite features about it and why?
Something that's mandatory for me is the cooling feature. Because just randomly throughout the night, I'll probably like wake up sweating. But with that cooling feature, it just makes it so much better, like a way better experience sleeping. I don't wake up sweating at all, just like great body temperature at all times. The foot warmer is amazing too. One of my favorite things is the zero gravity setting on there, where it sits you up and also brings your legs up, and it takes pressure off your back and takes pressure off your legs, and it's needed as an athlete, so I enjoy that too.
Not just the settings, but the data that you get after a good night's sleep with your Sleep Number app. How does that help you in your preparation week in and week out?
It kind of just helps me track where I am and how I've been sleeping. And I think that's really like it can be a big edge for you and like a superpower for you if you sleep really, really well and you're recovered and you're able to attack that next day with the right amount of juice and stuff like that, rather than like kind of fighting through the day in a certain sense. So that's why I like my sleep number and why I take my sleep so seriously.
Jordan, I know we all sleep better after wins, so we wish you many more down the home stretch here for the 2023 Los Angeles Rams. And thank you for sharing your experience with the Sleep Number Smart Bed.
Definitely. Yeah, my pleasure.
And we continue now by bringing in our next guest, Dr. Mark Aoya, Sleep Number's head of sleep and behavioral sciences, for more on how the Rams use sleep and recovery to gain a competitive edge. So, Doctor, if you wouldn't mind, to start, please give us a little background on your role with Sleep Number and how you help teams like the Rams gain that competitive edge through their sleep and recovery.
Sure thing, JB, and thanks for having me. So I'm a clinical psychologist by training. I'm a sleep expert of almost 3 decades. I've been doing research in sleep and helping people attain better sleep through individual sessions, therapy, stuff like that. For many, many years, though, I've been involved in industry. And more recently, although I've been a Sleep Number bed owner for 22 years, I've only been with the company for about a year and a half. And I've taken over a lot of the work that they do with the NFL in terms of educating teams and players and even staff in some instances about sleep and the benefits of good sleep. And then I also do individual work with some of the players to help them see how their sleep overlays with their on-field performance.
Yeah, I think we all agree how sleep is very important to our day-to-day lives, but that doesn't mean that everyone prioritizes it like NFL athletes do. Would you share with us how sleep helps NFL players to get the most out of their diet and their exercise?
Yeah, it's a great question, JB. And one of the things that we focus on really is our reaction time and recovery. Those are two of the things we focus on. And, when I talk to people in the community and I talk about sleep and reaction time, which, by the way, there's a ton of data on sleep improving reaction time. People in the general community don't really care about reaction time. But when you talk to elite athletes, a quarter or half of a second means a career in some cases. So they are pretty much in line when I start to talk about sleep and the benefits on field. But there's also benefits off field, and that includes things like quicker recovery, even from injury, or just from the workout that you have. There's some data that show that if you increase that an elite athlete undertakes in a given day, their sleep is going to go down the tubes that night. And it takes a couple nights for them to recover from that. So just by educating these guys how important that is to get back on the field at their peak performance, I think they take that in and that means something to them.
What about how sleep benefits athletes from a mental standpoint? We know how much of the National Football League is driven by mental stamina and acuity.
Yeah, it's, that is a critical part of sleep. And we know all of us have had a bad night's sleep. That affects us. I'm crabby, I'm, irritable. I don't pay as much attention. So all of those are mental functions that get involved with poor night's sleep. And certainly things like depression and poor relationships and stuff can result. But on field, we also think about decision making. And we've looked at our data at Sleep Number. We looked at some of the data from some of the teams in the NFL, and you can tell that the people who sleep less are more at risk. So things like mental errors, which can lead a team in the wrong direction and even affect the outcome of the game, may be mediated by sleep.
Okay, so then on that point, what is sleep IQ technology and how does sleep science benefit players both on and off the field?
Yeah, so you may have heard the commercials, 80% of NFL players are on Sleep Number beds. They can monitor things like motion, breath rate, heart rate, and from that we can calculate things like heart rate variability, which are can be measures associated with recovery. Sleep IQ is a technology that we have that gives people essentially an overall score of how well they're sleeping. That incorporates many of these factors, and then they can drill down into looking at what's keeping them back, what's lowering their sleep IQ. Is it the amount of time they're sleeping? Maybe they're irregular with their sleep cycle, which can affect your performance as well. Or is it things like heart rate recovery? So giving these athletes these tools helps them monitor things and creates the context for them to create insights about why sleep might be important for them and what they might do, even in manipulating the bed, to get better sleep.
Dr. Aloia, Sleep Number's done so much great work with the Rams over the years, and you even referenced down to the one-on-one level that you have with players. How do you compare their nightly sleep with their performance throughout the season?
Yeah, so first of all, I have to say that many of the players where we look at data together, they're sleeping pretty well. I mean, I think they do take it seriously, and they have a really nice structured setup to their season, so that they are supposed to be doing things at certain times, and that keeps them regular. But we also do work individually where we overlay their next gen stats on any given week with their sleep previous week. And we see some correlations. And when I do one-on-ones with players, sometimes I'll just show them those graphs. We'll talk about what's important to them, what they're carrying through this season or into the next season if we're talking off season. And we'll look at the graphs, and they'll see the insights. One of them actually said to me, clearly I need to get more 8-hour nights.
That's really interesting. Now, the Rams are unique being a West Coast team because they travel across more time zones to play their games during the season than just about any other franchise. Can you tell us a bit about how Sleep Number helps the team minimize jet lag and be prepared for those early kickoffs so that they can be at their best?
Yeah, jet lag is an important part of the game for the Rams, especially traveling east is harder than traveling west. So, we try to help the team set up their schedule. So with regard to meal times, sun exposure, travel times, practice times, so when they get there, what do they do? Many people will say, well, when I go travel, over 2 or more time zones, I take a nap when I get there. My advice is not to do that. It's to get moving, get sunlight, start to acclimate. And, we work with the Rams very closely with that. There are times when I've gotten phone calls saying, hey, we've got 2 East Coast games a week apart. Should we stay or should we come back? And we go back and we look at the data, and we can tell that teams that go 2 or more time zones, usually 2 time zones, come back and they recover within 2 or so days, sometimes 3. So, my advice to them was come back, recover, practice in your home, in the comfort of your own home, and then go back to the East Coast to play that next game. So we do one-on-one counseling with them. I will say that some of the coaches are pretty rigid with, okay, here's the schedule we have. Within that schedule, tell us what to do with meals and light and help them accommodate.
Yeah. I appreciate what you said about the modern player taking this all so seriously, but they don't all arrive as professionals that way. So when new college players join the Rams, how do you educate them on the things that can have them put together the best career possible?
Yeah. Well, more and more college players are getting some of this information in college. But you're right. They often come with maybe a little less appreciation than some of the veterans. And so what we do is we do rookie talks. So I'll go talk to the rookies. I'll spend 20 minutes giving them a talk on why sleep is important, some things to consider. But then we often spend like 40 or 45 minutes answering questions. And I think just simply educating those rookie players on why sleep should be important to them, because think about it, JB, these guys are elite athletes and they're young and they're somewhat invincible. But we need to, I think, sometimes raise the point that sleep could help them throughout their career, now and later. And I'll mention that, many of the guys have excellent questions when we talk to them about it. And, one of the things that's particular to the rookies is that they often have a delayed sleep phase. So in our adolescence, it's biologically natural for us to want to go to bed later and wake up later. And so that's different between the rookies and the veterans. And we address that too in some of our questions and answers with the team.
I like that. Yeah, the 21-year-olds, you probably have to convince. The 41-year-olds, not so much.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about the partnership and how it all ties together. When you put the Rams and Sleep Number together over the course of a season, how does that really translate into a competitive advantage?
Yeah, well, it's really hard for me to say exactly how it translates into competitive advantage, but I can tell you that when you're a team that prioritizes sleep enough to have a relationship like this, when you're a team when you're an individual that prioritizes enough to have a relationship like this, chances are you're taking your job pretty seriously and you're trying to get the best out of your athletes and give the best back to them. So, I think that the advantage that we have with this relationship is it goes beyond the bed. The bed's an important part to it, but we're giving these talks and educating these folks. We're there to answer questions. I'm a phone call away for questions around travel, like we talked about. And I talk with Reggie not infrequently about stuff like that. And just giving these folks the opportunity to get the best sleep they can brings them their best to the weight room, to the practice field, and to the competition.
Well, we appreciate the work that you and Sleep Number are doing to keep the Rams at their best. But let's face it, Mark, you and I, our playing days are behind us, and probably most of our audience is never going to play it down in the National Football League either. But it seems like there could be some significant takeaways from our conversation that could benefit them as well in their own daily lives.
Absolutely, JB. And, I think sleep is a relatively new field. The people who discovered dreaming sleep or REM sleep are just now passing, right? So this is a pretty new field in medicine. And I think we're gaining dramatic awareness across the population, globally too, and like not just in the United States. So I think it behooves us all to take sleep importantly, to really put it at its most importance. And I'll tell you that it affects our immune function. We talked about mental activity and performance. It affects our relationships. It affects most aspects of our life, and it even is related to things like cardiovascular disease. So I'd encourage everyone to look into it and take it seriously.
Dr. Mark Aoya, thank you very much for all that insight and your time and the partnership that you and Sleep Number have with the Los Angeles Rams.
Thank you, JB.
For Dr. Mark Aoya and for Ram safety Jordan Fuller, I'm JB Long. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Rams Revealed, brought to you in partnership with Sleep Number.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our videos.